Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all? One of the most famous questions in the world, from one of the best-loved fairy tales in the world. But not so long ago, it was one of the most dangerous questions in the world.
Spieglein, Spieglein an der Wand. Wer ist die Schönste im ganzen Land?
In 1930s Germany, anyone who didn't fit the Nazis' idea of perfection was exterminated. So what happened when they came across someone like me? Like the Ovitzes, a family of 7 Jewish dwarf entertainers. What happened when the Nazis found them reaches beyond the imaginings of even the darkest fairy tale. I'm going to tell you the magical story of the real 7 dwarfs.
There comes a time in every man's life when he must go out into the world to seek his fame and fortune. What shall I do? Go into politics?
Warwick Davis, Prime Minister, leader of the nation.
How old was it?
I don't know, 12.
Oh my God! Are you serious?
Oh my God! What's the matter with that? This is a film about me getting the part of an Ewok.
I mean, pound for pound.
Many people have seen this.
Hey, I want to be in the movie. Thank you very much. Please, could you tell me where Ewoks have to report?
Ewoks? Yeah, Ewoks.
It wasn't easy, but we couldn't have done it without you.
That's all right.
Thanks a lot. You worked really hard.
Yeah, bye-bye.
That was 30 years ago. I went on to do films like Willow and Harry Potter. And I even met my wife Sam, also a dwarf, while performing in Snow White.
I love the Ewoks.
Sure will.
What is it?
I'm perfectly comfortable with my size, and I actually don't think I could do my job if I wasn't.
Okay, there we go. Very good.
But I've always been fascinated by other short performers through the ages. From court jesters to Tom Thumb. Some were successful because they were seen as freaks, others simply because they were great entertainers.
Extra leg room.
There's a dwarf family who really shed light on all the complexities of being a dwarf entertainer. The Ovitz brothers and sisters. And, wait for it, there were 7 of them. Elizabeth, Franziska, Rosika, Mickey, Avram, Frida, and the youngest, Perla.
גם היהלומים, היהלום קטן, אבל זה יקר. וגם אני ככה. קטנה, אבל שווה משהו.
I've always wanted to know more about the Ovitz siblings. So I've come to Transylvania, northern Romania, where their story begins. They were born in a village that, according to an ancient fairy tale, was named after a giant who fell in love with a dwarf.
Hello, hi there. They've all got like tools on. Should be singing hi ho. I'm not sure whether. I don't know where to agree. My name's Warwick. Yeah.
Warwick Davis. How do you learn about them?
I've known of them and their story for a number of years now, and it's always interested me and always something I wanted to investigate further. I'm looking at it through the eyes of a little person and also a person who is an entertainer in the same business that they were.
Why do you think it's important the world to know?
The idea that they didn't let their size get them down. I've met Johnny Popescu, a local radio host who's also something of a historian. He's agreed to show me around.
So tell me about where we are now.
Well, we are in exactly the place the Ovitz's houses used to be many, many years ago.
Right.
And he is the one who owns the house now.
Hello, nice to meet you. Warwick, hi.
And by chance, he is the person, almost, I guess, the only one in the village who actually met the Ovitzes.
Really? Have you got good memory of them?
Foarte bine.
So I've got some pictures of the...
Avea aici lângă casă, între casă și drum, niște bănci și apoi când avea liber și stat, toți sta pe băncile acelea acolo către drum. Erau cunoscuți ca o familie educată.
The Ovitzes were an unusual family. Their father was a dwarf, but their two mothers and three other siblings were tall. Whereas my parents and sister are all average-sized. And when I was born in 1970, I came as a bit of a shock.
שלא נפרד אף פעם. שאנחנו נהיה קשורים אחד לשני כמו שרשרת. אמא היה, אז היא אמרה, איזה מקצוע הם יכולים פעם להרוויח חתיכת לחם. או שילמדו מוזיקה גם, או שפשוט שחקנים גם חיים. תיאטרון שלנו קראו תיאטרון ליליפוט, כי היינו קטנים.
Did you ever see them perform?
Da, sigur. Făceau și spectacol aici, la școală, câteodată făceau. Cântau și la anunțe, la țărani. De regulă ei cânta în instrumente muzicale.
אני שרתי דווקא בהונגרית. היה לי גיטרה קטנה, אז הזמנו 100 בית חרושת.
Populația nu exista să aibă o cămașă din asta sau pantaloni.
They all look like sort of classic movie stars from Hollywood, really.
I guess so.
The way they were dressed and... Like this picture here, he looks like a silent movie actor.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? It reminds me of sort of Harold Lloyd or Buster Keaton sort of look.
Ochii celorlalți și erau apreciați foarte mult. Aici aveau deplasări foarte multe, plecau prin Austria, prin Ungaria, prin...
Above all else, the Ovitzes were committed entertainers, and that's something I've always tried to be as well. Being just over 3 feet tall, you are more vulnerable. You tend to make up for that with a much larger-than-life personality. And that's what other dwarfs were doing all over the world in show business.
It was really the heyday of the interest in dwarfism. The public was really fascinated by dwarfs, and they were part of freak shows.
There was 75 different agents, dwarf agents all over Europe, and they were really knocking on doors, hunting new dwarfs.
In Coney Island, New York, there was a Lilliputian city where dwarves were paid to live there. There was the barber shop where a dwarf was the barber.
A fire brigade operated by dwarves.
And it is estimated that by 1939, about 1,500 dwarves were making their living out of show business.
They were basically making a living out of exhibiting their deformity. And this is what exactly the Ovitz family tried to avoid. They wanted that people would come to see them because they were able actors or singers.
Amongst all the other dwarf acts of the era, the Ovitz family really stood out.
מוזיקה, שירים, בתיאטרון ממש. Sketching.
And they spent time practicing, building props, making costumes, so that their act was the best it could be.
They could hold an audience. It wasn't a gimmick. From the beginning, they were thinking big.
They really appeared in the largest halls in Europe, places for 800, for 1,000, for a huge audience.
The Ovitzes used to play a lot.
Here?
Yes. You can see the room as it was.
So this is where we are now,
exactly,
this room here?
Exactly. So it was the largest restaurant of the time, and kings visited it.
It's amazing. They weren't just entertainers because they were small. They were entertainers because they were very good at what they did. But I think their reputation as great entertainers was what carried them through a career. That's kind of the philosophy that I have throughout my career. I got started in acting because I was short, but I didn't rely on that. I thought to maintain this, I need to hone the craft of performing and acting. You know, ultimately it'd be nice to be known as an actor who just happens to be short, which I think the Ovitz family were.
הקהל היה עובד רגיל לזרוק פרחים, שוקולדים, בומבונרות. כפיים היה שהיה אפשר לדבר.
It was the end of the 1930s and dwarfs were everywhere. And by 1937, when Disney released Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the craze for little people as entertainers had reached its height.
Most entrancing of all, Disney's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
But no one could have foretold who one of the film's greatest fans would be. Like all good fairy tales, Disney's Snow White had a darker side. Much like the Wicked Queen in Snow White, the Nazis' obsession with physical perfection would prove deadly, especially for the Ovitzes.
Ein Volk, ein Führer, ein Reich.
Hitler loved Disney's Snow White so much, he made his own version. As Nazi propaganda.
Spieglein, Spieglein an der Wand, wer ist die Schönste im ganzen Land?
In the German version of Snow White, she's a beautiful Aryan maiden who's threatened by an evil, shape-shifting outsider. People who had any kind of physical deformity, including dwarves like me, became an obsession for the Nazis. They would either kill them through their euthanasia program, or they'd use them as guinea pigs in laboratory experiments in their quest to create a master race. So when the Nazis started tearing through Europe, what would that mean for the Ovitzes, who were not only dwarves, but also Jews?
For them it was faraway Germany. They didn't feel that it has any implication upon them. It's simply a terrible thing which happens elsewhere. As if nothing changed.
Show must go on.
Noch nie
They simply hoped the war will be somehow over before the fire reached them.
בשם מיקי השני, כי כולם ישנו והוא לא היה יכול לרדם בשביל הרדיו. פתאום שמע שנכנס הגרמנים בהונגריה.
Thanks very much. Thank you. Cheers.
היה אסור לצאת ליהודים ולכלבים. זה כבר נתנו. ואחר כך אמרו שיהודים לא יכולים לעשות קניות. אם מישהו יצא בכל זאת, או שקיבל כדור, או שנתנו לו סטירות שהיה צריך רופא. אז שלחו בן אדם עם תף, והיהודים יוצאים מהמקומות לגטואים. מה זה גטו? אף אחד עוד לא ידע מה זה גטו.
This is Dragomireshti, 6 miles from the Ovitz's village, where they were forcibly taken. I'm meeting the son of the village priest, who lived right opposite the ghetto. Hello, I'm Warwick.
Salut.
What's your name?
Mihai.
Mikhail.
Mihai.
And this is where they were kept. And how many people would be here?
About 3,000. Wow. From 6 villages.
But when they were here, they wouldn't have known what was going on, would they, particularly?
No,
they would have been just...
No. They thought they will be taken to labor camps.
So if you'd tried to leave...
Shooting on the spot.
Really?
These pictures were taken here in this area.
So this is when they would have just arrived?
Yeah, the picture was taken when they arrived, and they had this from the card.
I mean, this is an unbelievable photo, that this was taken here. We're here, there's a cart here. It's amazing. Who is this here?
A simple soldier to compare. And it's written here that's an average height.
This is telling you that he's average size. Yes. So you could see how short they were.
They mock them. They mock them. They consider them as luggage. That's the word in Hungarian. Okay, the luggages arrived at Dragomireshti and they have to be thrown out of the cart.
I don't know what to say about that.
Da. Deci un jurnal în care a consemnat zilnic ce s-a întâmplat în perioada aceea.
That's amazing. 1944 there.
Da.
Does he talk about the ghetto here in the diary anywhere?
Deci a urmat asta a fost în 16 aprilie 1944. A 3-a zi de Paști a urmat deportarea lor aici, la Dragomireshti.
Right.
Au fost îmbarcați pe căruțe care au fost obligate să-i transport. Așa au părăsit comuna toți evreii spre o destinație necunoscută. Cu această ocazie, unii au murit mergând, deci de oboseală, unii opunându-se să plece au fost împușcați. Când scriu aceste rânduri, deja sunt plecați toți evreii și din Dragomireshti, neștiind nimeni unde se vor opri.
It's kind of hard to imagine, what happened here. For the Ovitz family, suddenly they're brought here on a horse and cart, sort of dumped here. It must have been so frightening. I wonder if the children that play out here realise what their playground once was.
So finally we arrived here, as the Ovitzes did.
I mean, this place looks like it probably did in the 1940s.
Definitely, yes. But the Ovitzes weren't a cattle wagon.
I mean, that's impossible. That's impossible. I wouldn't know even where to start. Just even to get on this, and this is meant for passengers to get on, but a cattle truck isn't even designed with steps.
And the cattle truck is like that. So no steps for it.
I mean, I'm not getting in there. Whatever happens.
Don't try.
עלינו ביום ראשון.
There were 40 cattle trucks, each with 80 people crammed inside.
חלונות כבר עם קרשים, כבר סגור, לא ראית לאן לוקחים את הבן אדם. כלום.
The Ovitzes thought they were going to be rehoused, so they'd brought the tools of their trade: makeup, costumes, instruments. I wonder, what did they talk about on the train? Did they discuss? I wonder what's going to happen. Where we're going to end up working. Do you think they discussed a strategy? You know, what were their thoughts?
ככה היינו מבולבלים, לא ידענו לאן לוקחים אותנו. אנחנו שאלנו את החיילים, פחות ביותר הם ידעו. אז הם אומרים, בשביל מה לנו להגיד? אתם הולכים למקום איפה שלא חוזרים.
This is a typical day in May 44, where loads of transports from Greater Hungary arrive. The Ovitz's family were also from Transylvania, which was at the time Greater Hungary. So at first they arrive and they would unload at the ramp. As you can see, they get off of the train there. As Auschwitz was a working camp, but also an extermination camp, they needed to decide who will live and who will die.
And so the person that's deciding this
is the doctor. The people who live were people who were more fit to work. Even though it was not a rule, you could be very fit and be sent to die. So by general, I would say women with children, the elderly, and people who they perceived as crippled were automatically sent to die. Most of them have no idea that in 30 minutes they are going to be dead. 30 to 45 minutes.
But this person here would have been...
This is a dwarf. What's interesting, did he live or did he die?
Yeah.
Basically, I would say no chance that he would live.
אתה לא רואה בית, לא רואה כלום, רק צריפים ואש יוצא לעבוד. כמו בן אדם, כל האבק כמו בן אדם יצא. שאלנו אותך, חייל, מה יש שמה? אל תשאלו, יהיה יותר טוב לכם. שמה זה קבר ישראל, הוא אמר.
Even there, Mickey was so self-assured, and he had in his pocket the fan cards. Mickey there on the ramp took from his coat a fan card and distributed to the SS guard. It's amazing.
חייל אחר, גם נאצי, והוא אמר, אל תזוזו עד שאני לא חוזר עם דוקטור מנגלה. מי זה דוקטור מנגלה? אתם תראו כבר.
You can see here, Mengele, he was a part of the mainstream of the German academic milieu at the time. But as you can see, he has a very striking appearance. He was a handsome man. He was also a war hero. He arrives at Auschwitz, where he was in the front. So,
very powerful man.
Very powerful man.
וכשמנגלה בא, אז הוא אמר, הוא לא רוצה שאנחנו ניכנס לעשות דסינפקציה, כאילו, ככה אמרו לזה.
He was collecting all kinds of people who were very short or tall, or with pointed head, or all kinds of deformities, actually. And all the other soldiers knew that he was collecting for what was called Mengele's zoo.
Selection on them would have been, right, yeah, we're not going to exterminate you because I think you're going to be of interest.
Yes.
אם אנחנו היינו כולם גדולים, אז כל המשפחה הייתה באותו הלילה הולכת באש. ולא היה נשאר מאיתנו אפילו סיבה שהיינו על העולם.
It's incredible. The Ovitzes were brought here because they were Jews, but they managed to buy some time because they were dwarves.
והוא אמר, עכשיו יש לי לימודים ל-20 שנים, אם לא יותר. אנחנו שמענו 20 שנים, כמעט התערפנו ממחשבה. הלך לנו, לא ידענו מה זה יהיה 20 שנה במקום כזה.
Doctors have always been interested in little people for genuine medical reasons. I was in and out of hospital when I was a kid because of the medical problems that come with being a dwarf.
Wow.
But I want to understand why the Nazi doctor, Josef Mengele, was so interested in the Ovitzes.
This is Charlie O'Brien, or Charles Byrne, known as the Irish giant in his day, one of the tallest men who's ever lived.
Astonishing, isn't it? I know a few tall individuals like this. Peter Mayhew, who played Chewbacca in Star Wars, he's pretty tall.
Nobody's perfect.
Well, okay, I'm of a slightly different design.
You are of a slightly different design.
Let's just say that.
Mengele is absolutely coming out of a tradition of comparative biology, comparative anthropology, lots of skull measuring happening in early 20th century Germany. And it's becoming a bit more sophisticated, lots of interest in genetics, so hence the interest in the Ovitz family. I mean, it wasn't just him. His former boss, Foscure, famous scientist, famous anthropologist, sent him to Auschwitz, told him, said, you're going to have a fantastic opportunity to do experiments there, to do things that you can't do anywhere else. Mengele did indeed believe that somehow the Ovitz family have the secret of growth. We could learn something from him. And do you know something? At heart, he was right. But the things that he did, the experiments that he did on this family, couldn't have possibly told them anything. They were just bizarre, irrelevant, appalling experiments. It's a sort of a moral vacuum in which scientists have the opportunity to do anything they want, no matter what the cost or the consequences. It's the right over life and death. It's like that.
Children, twins, gypsies. Mengele experimented on many people. But what did he have in store for the Ovitz family?
Here we have documents from so-called SS Hygiene Institute. This was a big, large medical laboratory.
And there's the Ovitz name there, yeah?
Yes, exactly.
לקח דם, לקח שיניים טובים. למה יש לי כל כך הרבה שזר? לא היה לי על מה לאכול. וככה לכל אחת אותו דבר. והוציא שרות מפה, הוציא אפילו מפה. לראות אם זה כמו אצל כל בן אדם גדול.
What is this telling us?
This is the order to the test of the blood. This document shows us that the blood was taken on 28th of June 1944 from this prisoner, Ovitz Perla. And also the signature, the signal of Mengele here.
Is that his signature there?
באוזניים שם מים קרים כמו קרח, ככה עשינו, ככה. ואחר כך מים חמים רותחים מהתנור. אמרנו, אפשר להשתגע מזה. אפילו למות.
I mean, he seems obsessed with blood tests. I mean, it was...
Mengele took their bloods day by day, very, very often.
It's not exactly learning a lot, really, is he? Keep testing blood. It doesn't really tell you an awful lot.
He had a very strong impression. It's very important for the future of the Third Reich.
I see.
הוא היה באמת רופא משהו. אבל מה? אנחנו היינו מוכרחים לתת לו לעשות, כי אם לא אז מחסל אותנו. אז אמר אחותי, אמא הראשונה, הבכורה, גנדיגר הרוב שטונפילם, עד מתי אנחנו צריכים לחיות פה? הוא אומר, עד מתי שאתם פה, אז אתם לא שם. זאת אומרת, לא נשרפים אותנו.
This is where the Ovitzes slept.
The barrack was to be for 400 people, but as the camp was overcrowded, the number was doubled. Some of the survivors are saying even about 1,000 people in each.
1,000 people in here?
Yeah.
The Ovitz family, they would have slept on one of these, would they? Probably on the bottom.
Yes.
I'm assuming.
Bottom was not very safe because of the diarrhea, which was quite frequent. People could not control the disease. The topest was also not good because of the leaking roof. So that was just the reality that they have to fight every single day of life.
We look at pictures and we read stories and accounts of things. Somehow you feel remote from it. But it's when you go to the places you really start to kind of realise that, hang on a minute, these aren't stories, these are not tales. This is something that happened and this is where it happened. My children are dwarfs. My wife's a dwarf. But in another time, another place. Around 100 dwarfs were killed in Auschwitz, so being short wasn't going to be enough to save the Ovitzes. To buy more time, they'd have to use another of their assets, one that chimed with the strange logic of Mengele and the other officers.
The average life was about 3 months. We got so used to fear. Yeah.
Anita, like the Ovitzes, is a musician. Something that appealed to the people who ran Auschwitz.
Whoever could do something that was useful to them was a commodity, but if you couldn't, dispensable. We arrived there in the night. We were put in a barrack, waited. I don't know what prompted me to... She must have asked me, what did you do before the war? I said, I play the cello. She said, fantastic. There's a band here. Lucky for me, yeah.
That's where I draw parallels between your story and the Ovitz family.
Exactly.
Because they indeed were
Anything
different.
that was a bit out of the ordinary, you see, was suddenly interesting. I mean, if it hadn't been Mengele with an interest in that, I don't see how they could have survived.
אספו, הביא לנו פודרה, כי את שלנו לקחו, ועודף וסומק, ואמר אם יש איזה ספרית שתעשה לנו תספורות. היה שר, כשהיה מרגיש טוב בינינו, היה אומר בגרמנית, auf die 7 Bergen habe ich 7 Zwergen. והיה שר את זה. פעם, פעמיים, לעשות לנו חשק. אז הוא אמר, אתם לא יודעים לשיר? אמרנו, אנחנו כן יודעים לשיר, אבל אין מוזיקה, מי שייתן את הטון. אז הוא אמר, גם אני שר בלי מוזיקה. אתם רוצים לשמוע? אז שר לנו את זה, auf die 7 Bergen habe ich 7 Zwergen.
In a way, I'm not surprised that the Ovitzes were using all their skills as performers to give themselves a chance. That's the spirit of a dwarf, of a little person.
Wearing their artistic persona helped them to distance themselves from what was happening there. For them it was another play, but they are actors in it, and are playing for their life.
The Germans could at any time come into our block and ask for some music.
So you had to be ready.
Yeah. And this was the moment that, for instance, Dr. Mengele, the famous guy who did the experiment on unusual people, came into the block and wanted to hear the Träumerei by Schumann. And I played that. It was on my repertoire, you know.
I do find it interesting that the Nazis wanted to have music, and I'm sort of wondering why, you know, by day they were killing people.
It was entertainment to want music.
Was it a therapy?
In a way, it must have been. Must have been. And you know, we actually played concerts on Sunday, and people came and listened. I mean, it's got a completely ludicrous idea, really. Yeah.
אנחנו שמענו את זה, כאילו שנתן לנו קצת אומץ, אבל האומץ שלו, אמרו לנו, אל תיקחו את זה ברצינות, כי הוא יכול לקבל סיסי בראש ומחסל אתכם בבת אחת.
I can't imagine it. I mean, I think I'd be foolish to try and imagine what they went through. And even what I can imagine, I don't think I would have coped very well. It's so hard to live under the terror, under the fear, constantly. The Ovitzes knew that the moment Mengele got bored of them, they could end up here, in the little wood, the waiting room for the gas chamber. I've seen photographs of people in the wood just after they arrived off the train.
The crematorias were huge. The producer of the crematorias were saying that per day they could burn 5,000 corpses.
It makes me angry, this part. Yeah, I find it very difficult to be here. I can really feel not what it must have been like, but what it's all about. And yeah, this is difficult being here. The Ovitz's nightmare ended in January 1945. 8 months after they'd arrived at Auschwitz, the camp was liberated. Along with most of the other SS officers, Mengele had already fled, taking his research with him. The dwarfs were transported away by cart and arrived back in their village a year later. The fact that the Ovitzes came out alive is incredible. They were the only family to survive the camp intact.
אני את מנגלה לא שונאת, אסור לי אפילו להגיד את המילה הזו, כי לפי האמת צריך לשנות אותו, אבל הוא נתן לנו לחיות עם זה שהוא רצה ללמוד. אז אני לא יכולה לשנות אותו.
To have followed their story and talked to the people I have, I feel like I've got a really great insight into their lives and what made them the people they were. It does have a happy ending. Not for everybody, but for the Ovitzes, it did. But that wasn't without a price. They had to live with their ordeals. It's left me shocked and amazed, and I find them even more inspirational than I did before.
בגלל שאני שמה איפור, אני לא רוצה שיגידו מסכנה, אפילו איפור לא שמה. אתה יודע איך אומרים? הפה צוחק, הלב בוכה.
In 1949, the Ovitzes emigrated to Israel. They started performing again to packed-out theatres, just as they'd done before the war. And Perla, the last of these inspirational dwarfs, passed away in 2001 at the age of 80.
Beat your head against the wall. Don't ever try to figure why, who seems to be to blame. That some folks have a million and can't even write their name. That's why you gotta handle them a little muzzle. Muzzle means good luck, 'cause with a little muzzle you always have a buck. Muzzle, 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 es ist doch festgestellt. Zum Glück, das sein Habibi ist Muzzle mehr.